Hey, welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's Wednesday Wisdom guest, but we want to give a shout out to our partners, the Florida Coaches Coalition, We Coach, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, and the Global Community of Women in High School Sports. You've heard me say before, these are great organizations. You should add them to your network. Now, don't hit that fast forward button. Stay with us for the next 3 minutes as we give our sponsors their shout out. These are all companies that I used as an athletic director or as a coach. You should be using them too. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Gipper for their support of the podcast. Go to Gipper.com, start creating custom content for your school's social media channel. Your students are on social media, and if you're not there, you're really missing out. Go to Gipper.com, start creating world-class content for your school's social media channel. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus. Home Campus is your one stop for things like scheduling, student athlete clearance and eligibility, coach management, and a whole lot more. As an AD, I used Home Campus every single day, and it was just great. To find out more about Home Campus and what they can do for you, all you have to do is go to homecampus.com. That's homecampus.com. We also want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's a great way to tell your school's history, showcase your best moments along with your brightest athletes. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com to find out more. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com and change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided that allowed them to coach our kids at their highest level. At Huddle, we believe in sports, and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, scoreboards, and indoor scoring tables. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, schedule a live web demo, and see their scoreboards and their score tables in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was a Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com to get started. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Hometown is digital ticketing that offers more support, more security, more customization. Hometown is here to make the best solution for you. Go to hometownticketing.com for more information. We also want to say thanks to Snap Mobile. Go to snapraise.com. That's snapraise.com. Check out their entire suite of platforms designed to help you do better. If you're looking for the best fundraiser, Snap Raise is it. But they also have Snap Store, Snap Connect, Snap Manage, and a whole lot more. You'll find it all at snapraise.com. We also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic surveys are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire program. Athletic directors already hear back from the complainers, the 2% that want to gripe about everything. Athletic surveys connect you with the 2%, but they also connect you with the 98% that love and support your program. Go to athleticsurveys.com. See all the things that they can do for your program. Let them help you take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes and take your program from good to great. Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We've got one of our longtime Wednesday Wisdom team members and what we like to call a friend of the show, and one of my friends too, Julie Kelly. Regular listeners will know that name. Julie is a certified athletic administrator. She was a longtime administrative assistant in a big athletic department, and you all know that those people really are the ones that are running the show. She recently took an athletic director position at Providence Christian Academy in Arkansas. That's where she rolls. And we're very fortunate to have her in a very busy time. School's just getting started, and we're recording this on August 21st, so it's going to be very timely by the time you hear it. Julie Kelly, welcome back to Wednesday Wisdom.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here today.
Well, as we mentioned, it's a very busy time for ADs and coaches. Let's go and get started. What do you have for our listeners today?
Well, being in a new role, like you mentioned, I have been an athletic assistant for 12, 13 years. I felt like I was pretty good at my job, so I went back and got my education and then also completed my CAA. And I'm an athletic director now. I was hired in my first role this summer. It's been fast and furious, and so I've learned some really great things. There are a lot of good things that I already knew, but being the main person in the role, I have learned some valuable things that I think could give some wisdom to someone else. The first thing is when I came in, I'm really blessed that the athletic director that was here before me has stepped down and he's only going to coach. So he's coaching a couple of other sports, but he's just not taking the administrative role. And so I have had complete access to him as far as getting to know what our schedules look like, our coaches, things like that. So my first bit of wisdom would be, if you were coming into a new role, if you have access to the athletic director that was in your position, to use them as a resource. The AD that was here before me has been vital to the success that I've already had. He is humble and gentle, and like you, he wants to see other people succeed. And so he's been really willing to pass on some of his documents, share a huge document that has all of his month-to-month duties and responsibilities. So for someone going into a new role, I would recommend that if you have access to someone in the previous role, just to reach out to them. Most athletic directors are willing. If you've invested a lot in a school, they want to continue to see it be successful. And they're usually willing to share the things that they have learned along the way. So.
Yeah, I've been in that position before, coming into a new school a couple of different times, and just the circumstances, that previous AD wasn't there. Sometimes it was a good thing they weren't there, but there were a couple times that I wish I would have been able to reach out. So that's got to be great for you.
Yeah.
What are some other tips or things you'd like to share with our listeners today?
I also think it's important to just make yourself known with the conference or the organization that you're going into. I've been in public school all of my career. This is my first time to be in a private school. So I'm on a big learning curve right there. But when I was in public school, we are part of the Arkansas Athletic or Activities Association. And this conference, I'm a part of a Christian conference that makes up 3 or 4 different states. And so familiarizing myself with the conference, getting to know other ADs in the conference. The head guy over our conference he probably feels like I'm nagging him like crazy because I have all kinds of questions, but I want to make sure that we're doing things right. And, rules are a little bit different in this conference than they are in the one that I was in previously. So I think that's the biggest thing. As soon as you get into a role that might be different than what you are not familiar with, just familiarizing yourself with as many people as you can, and the rules and the roles that are in that area.
Yeah, we always talk about the importance of networking and, finding mentors and things like that. And that was, talking about tools, that was something that it was certainly available to me, but I didn't take advantage of it until later in my career. It was probably equal parts, cockiness. Well, I know what I'm doing, along with, boy, I don't want to look like I'm a dope by asking somebody for help. And as you know, in the athletic director world, ADs can't wait to help other people. We sometimes we'll call them up and say, "Hey, do you need some help?" So, a great reminder for all of us.
Yeah. And, I think another thing on that same aspect is I feel incredibly blessed that I have had so many athletic directors pour into me, and they've helped me along the way in my career. So I do feel the same way in, it may not be athletic directors at this point that I'm investing in because I'm so young in my role, but in my coaching staff, that's been the very first thing that I have done. As soon as I got here, I started meeting with all of my coaches individually, asking them what they loved about their jobs, what they didn't like, and asking them what their future goals are. Because I feel like the best thing that we can do to have an incredible culture is to find out what people's strengths are and then put them in the place to be successful with those strengths. So if you are a golf coach, but you don't really like golf and you know that you would fit better in basketball, then that's my goal, is to help people get to where they feel like they can be the most successful. And a lot of times coaches don't come out and tell you that. But when you start asking them, what's your love? What's your passion? Our team is going to be the best and be the most successful if I understand what their goals are. The other thing is sometimes being willing in that mentorship to help people. Sometimes you might help them out of your school. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but if someone's goal, if they're working for me and their goal is to be a college coach, I'm going to help them try to do that. I'm going to try to help them grow and progress in their career because I want them to be successful. And I think the best leaders do that. They find out ways that we can help each other. And we don't keep people just to be keeping them, even when they're great. We all help each other in figuring out what their goals are.
And again, a couple great points. You talked about putting them where they can be successful. It's just like a coach, putting kids where they can help the team the most. As the coach of the coaches, the athletic director is doing the same thing. And I love what you talked about, helping them if they have a goal, if they aspire to, be a head coach or a college coach, let's do what we can to help them out.
For
Great
sure.
stuff. Okay. I get just great advice. Julia, I'm going to keep hitting you up. What else do you have for our listeners today on Wednesday Wisdom? We're really going to max you out.
All right. Well, I think, the next part of that I could offer is establishing a great relationship with whoever your boss is. For most public schools, it might be a superintendent. For me, in a private school, it's a president. And so I meet regularly with my president. We have sat down together so that I understand what his expectations are for me in this role. And then also kind of like laid out a roadmap. We have a 3-year athletic master plan of like what the next 3 years should look like. So even though I've only been in this role a couple of months, it helps me to know what his expectations are for me into next year and 3 years down the road. So meeting regularly to see how, to get a feel of if you're achieving those goals, I think is really important. It also helps establish a great relationship. My president knows that he can trust my leadership based on the conversations that we're having. So I would encourage any new administrator just to meet with your leadership to make sure that you're on the same page. Part of that also is trying to understand the culture. This is a new culture for me. I've never worked in a Christian environment before, although I am a believer. All my education or all of my experience has been in public education. And so this is a little bit of a learning curve, understanding how our culture works, what our parents are like, what our students. So I think it's important too, just to take some time to understand the culture, understand the people that you work with, because that will help you have long-term success as well, is just knowing what that looks like. And then I think the last thing, Jake, is I've learned by myself, I'm a very type A personality, and I have very high expectations of myself, especially going into a new role. But I would encourage other people that are in the same boat as I am, just to have some realistic expectations of really what you can do this first year, and to set some healthy boundaries. I'm not always good at that. We know that athletics requires a lot of time outside of the regular work day. So my encouragement is to find some time for rest and some renewal, because you're going to need to be fully charged on the days that do require a lot. So make sure that you're making time for your family, because that really is the most important thing. Athletics are fun and important, but our family is really what comes first. And all the other things that we do really doesn't matter if we're not making sure that we're taking care of the people inside our house first.
Again, absolutely correct. We are, I think, people in our positions, not all of them, but most of them, we are that type A. We're driven to succeed in whatever we're doing. So there's going to be that time investment, but the team is still going to be there. The weight room is going to be there. All that stuff is still going to be there when you go back the next day. But make sure you have time for your family. And I'm going to mention one thing you didn't mention directly, but this is about you. When we first met, you were an aspiring athletic director, and you already were highly qualified to be the athletic director at just about any school setting we could imagine. But I guess the word I'm going to use, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you were patient, but you weren't passive in your journey to become an athletic director. You took the position at, the University of Arkansas. You were still working toward this goal, this dream, if you will, becoming a school-based AD. But it wasn't, oh, this isn't unfair. I'm not being hired. They're not looking at me. And you didn't give up, obviously.
Yeah.
You were patient, but you weren't passive. So I guess what's the opposite of passive? I'm looking for a P word there.
Yeah, well, I think maybe progressive.
There you go. Okay, we'll take that. Okay.
Yeah, when I left U of A, I wanted to get back into secondary education, and I did take a job last year at Gentry Public School District as a career coach. While that was not in athletics, it was one of the most gratifying seasons of my career. Getting to help kids, like I made incredible impacts in the lives of kids last year, and I'm so thankful for that. But even though I was not in athletics last year, I continued to do all the things as far as keep up my networking, as far as LinkedIn. I still went to the National AD Conference. I still joined my national or my state association, still kept my contacts, because that really was the best thing. When the school year ended in May and I started applying for other jobs, a lot of my athletic director friends were helping me by calling me and saying, hey, this job is open, or can I be a reference for you here? So I think that is the most important thing. This is the right job for me. And like you said, I was patient, and because you don't want to get into a place just to get the title or the job, just to be doing it. Like you want it to be a good fit. And being at Providence has been incredible. Like the administration, the coaches, I feel so blessed to get to lead and work with this group of people. They're amazing. And so if you are an aspiring AD, that job that you are wanting just has not come along yet, my encouragement is don't settle. Do something that you love in the meantime. But while you're doing that, continue to work towards that goal and that progression of your career. Join the associations, keep up with your contacts, be a part of anything that you can professionally. I think that was the best thing that I've done. And I still, a couple of weeks ago, I went to an AD conference. It's called the Border State Summit. So for Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, that was a group of, I'm up in the northwest corner of the state. So we're really close to those three other states. And I met new people that I've never even met at the national conference. And so I think those type of things are really, really important professionally. So that's my encouragement. Use our technology, with the Sports U app that the national organization is using. I signed up for my section. And so the people that are in section 6, that's kind of how we communicate. So even though I'm not near our people in New Mexico, that's kind of how we're communicating and encouraging each other.
Yeah, no, again, just great reminders for all of us, the importance of, patience, perseverance, progression, and
Yeah.
also the connection, build that network. Speaking of networking, if one of our listeners wants to reach out and connect with you, and listeners, you've got a tremendous resource here. Julie, what's the best way that somebody can get a hold of you?
Okay, so my new email here at Providence Academy is AD, like athletic director, at providence-academy.com. So that's AD at providence-academy.com. I'm also on LinkedIn as well.
Right. Yeah. Make sure you connect with Julie Kelly. I had to go in and purge a number of emails because you've had a few since you and I first met. But yeah, Julie's information is on the NIAAA portal. And like she said, she is on LinkedIn. Julie, always great spending time with you. All the best with the coming seasons at Providence. And we will definitely look to connect once again at the National Conference in December.
Great. Hey, and Jake, thanks so much for your influence in aspiring ADs, seasoned ADs, like people like me. I appreciate what you do. So thanks for having me today.
Thank you so much. For listeners, we appreciate you, and we upload the Zoom recordings of these interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Come back next time, next Wednesday, for another great Wednesday Wisdom segment, and just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Always fun to spend time with Julie Kelly. Before we go, let's give a shout out to our sponsors one more time. I used every single one of these products as an AD or as a coach. You should use them too. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Let them help you take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes. Huddle. Turn your school into a huddle school. Go to huddle.com. Home Campus. Go to homecampus.com. Scheduling. Student athlete eligibility and clearance. Coach management. You'll find it all at homecampus.com. Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Show off your school's Hall of Fame, show off your school record boards. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com for more information. Snap Mobile is the home company. Snap Raise is the website. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their entire suite of platforms. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. They're the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. I don't think I need to say anything more. Go to hometownticketing.com. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards and scoreboards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, schedule a live web demo, see their tables and their boards in action. And finally, Gipper. Go to Gipper.com. They're the official social media graphics solution for the Educational AD Podcast. It's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on Wednesday Wisdom, and just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast.